Hello, hello! A new week, a new batch of news to share with our lovely indie-loving community. So, make yourself a cup of tea or coffee and settle in as Wally is settling in the background. If you see a dark blob or maybe he comes into focus, it's just my doggo. As a gentle reminder, weekly shows like this one are ad-free and sponsor-free for our patrons. You'll also get access to our exclusive Discord, where we often, and members too, give away keys, share info on deals, plot our takeover of the world, you know, the usual. Wally, hush. He poked me! But before we delve into the news, let's take some time to talk about our lovely sponsor for this week, and that's the game I Know This Place Chapter 1. Coming from developers and publishers Same Frame and RBL Labs, I Know This Place Chapter 1 is an experimental game where no one knows what will happen next, not even the developers. Instead, it's the players who dictate the future of the game's chapters through their feedback and suggestions. Created by a team of just 3 developers, they've crafted out-of-the-box puzzles and a plot that's rich with details and hooks, where each player can come away with their own interpretation of the story. This first chapter is an experimental, mystic quest taking place during an eternal summer evening and influenced by Eastern Europe of the 80s and 90s. One important thing to note, however, is that in the future, only paid subscribers will have the opportunity to contribute story influences and suggestions. But for the first chapter, everyone can contribute and participate by submitting their own photos or ideas or items for consideration. So, what exactly is the story? Well, it begins when our protagonist receives a letter from an old friend inviting him to visit an apartment. Once our protagonist arrives at this familiar-looking locale, he realizes just about everything has changed and that time is frozen within this space. I Know This Place encourages you to slow down and explore, investing. Dios mío, twice I fucked up this. I Know This Place encourages you to slow down and explore, investigating every nook and cranny until strange occurrences begin to unfold. To engineer this revolutionary way of developing a game story, the developers are using a groundbreaking Web 2.5 blockchain technology, which sounds fancy and cool to a tech dummy like me. If this sounds intriguing to you, wishlist Chapter 1 of I Know This Place and prepare for its Steam release on April 20th. And again, thank you to our sponsor, I Know This Place Chapter 1, for helping us with this episode through your sponsorship, and I personally look forward to seeing how your game develops. Sounds pretty cool. Alright, let's start talking about the indie gaming news. First up, summon your occult-loving friends and protect the world from utter devastation at the hand of Cthulhu. This is Eresys, an upcoming Steam Early Access co-op horror game, and another esoteric addition to the ever-expanding Lovecraftian universe. Play one of 4 cultists and face off against horrifying creatures, all in attempts to seal a dangerous void portal. Fans of the channel may know that Legend and I are lovers of the Lovecraft-inspired, and I'm personally dying to grab a cultist and get to work to saving the world. Maybe. With this hair-raising music and eerie-looking monsters, Eresys could be more horror than chaotic team management. Either way, I'm in. Still on my Vampire Survivors high after the new DLC, this game, now I have this game, Soul Survivors, that looks like a wonderful dark fantasy addition to the bullet hell action roguelike genre. That was a lot of words. Between the rocking guitar playing in the trailer, I'm like 1,000 years old for saying that. Anyway, the variety of butt-kicking characters to choose from, and the fleshy Attack on Titan looking monster that was in the swarms.
Oh, bummer, bro.
Everything about this game looks like endless fun. The game also promises to be skill and time-based survival, so perhaps I'll have to think about more than just what direction I'm gonna go in. With challenging combat and metagame progression, whatever that is, Soul Survivors comes out for Steam Early Access on May 3rd. A soul chicken from The Legend of Zelda has come for revenge. Bark!
Super Dungeon Maker will be out of early access May 3rd and releasing on Steam and Nintendo Switch.
Got bigger brains than me? Try your hand at making your own dungeons in minutes, placing traps, enemies, items, switches, and hidden objects. Make an inspiring dungeon crawl, or torture the community with trap after trap. It's your dungeon. This game already has so much love and support on Steam, and while I've never really dabbled in the create your own game kind of games, but the visuals and the music do have me convinced to give it a shot. And if I suck at designing dungeons, or I don't find it any fun, I can just browse the community-created dungeons, so it sounds like it's gonna be a good time either way.
If you're an indie horror gaming lover like myself, you've already heard of Killer Frequency after it first released as an incredible Game Jam submission in 2019.
This first-person black comedy thriller takes place in a small American town, where you're a radio host and you're getting calls about a serial killer on the streets. I love the dichotomy of, okay, grab the ladder and climb up the roof to escape the killer, followed by, and here's some sweet tunes while we wait to see if she lives. This game promises to reward us for paying attention to the details, the very same ones that could save the lives of our callers. That's if we want to. Get ready to test your DJ detective skills on June 1st. Put them hooves up, 'cause it's time to fight! Reviewed by ex-hardcore gamer when it first released, Them's Fighting Herds is the 2D fighter I never knew I needed. Created by My Little Pony fans and blessed with original designs from the creator herself. This bovine and more based game has a new DLC fighter called Stronghoof. As you might have guessed from the designs and the attacks, this guy is a reindeer and he plans on icing out his competition, with a little help from his sprite friend. This piece of hair doesn't want to stay put. After giddily watching the trailers, I am desperate to get my hands on this game, and one day some friends to play with it. Time to hit up the Discord.
By the way, you can join us if you support us on Patreon. Just saying.
Japanese folklore? Check. Ink brush art style? Check. My money's in progress. This is Labyrinth of the Zangetsu, a dungeon crawler RPG inspired by Japanese art and folklore that launches April 20th for Steam, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch. I can't help but be reminded of one of my all-time favorite games when I see this, and that's the timeless classic Okami. Except this is dark and gritty. The unsettling monster design, I'm talking to you, floating heads with hair, and the anxiety-inducing movement around the map all have me very intrigued. With my fingers crossed that we can review this one on the channel,
I wait with bated breath.
So for this next game, to be frank, I felt an obligation to put this on the list as I started to reflect on myself and how I create these news. And, I am essentially picking, influenced by my own taste, what games I'm going to feature. And while I try my best to do a wider spread, I'm trying to force myself more to really showcase games that maybe I'm not into but look very well made and would be something you're interested in. All this preamble to say, this is Tape to Tape, a roguelite hockey simcade launching into Steam Early Access on May 3rd. I think the conceit of taking a ragtag group of players and building them up, plus just a little bit of bribery, could be very fun. But I did find that the voice of the person on the trailer got really grating after a while.
Well, I guess it's my fault for being an optimist. Let's run it again, donkeys.
I get the whole Canadian angry coach shtick it's doing, but in my opinion, you gotta vary it up in the trailer. Otherwise, it's kind of torturous for us too. If you're Canadian, let me know if you found this funny. Maybe there's something I don't get. And if there's anyone watching this video, leave me a comment if you like sports games, and let me know if this entry is on track or on ice. I'm funny. My second ice pun. I got a degree in writing, y'all. And for our final bit of news that I had not heard of ever happening before, and I would love to see this be repeated. We have a game that is getting hyped up with an entire musical event. That game is Stray Gods, the role-playing musical, an adventure RPG whose release is far off in August, but that doesn't mean we can't get excited about it. And I must say, the clips I've seen on Critical Role's Twitch channel, which hosted this live-streamed musical alongside Troy Baker, gave me all the goosebumps that the sonorous music produced. While the full VOD is not yet available, I'll do my best to let channel fans know when it is, so you can treat your ears to musical artistry. With a star-studded cast and a story taking place in a modern fantasy world where Greek gods live hidden among us, I am thoroughly hyped for this release. And that's all, folks! I hope these titles caught your eye, and before I go, your question for the week. What game music would you love to hear played live? No surprise, my answer is of course Hades, but perhaps the last game's Olympian themes have clouded my vision to other great game OSTs. Let me know in the comments, and I'll smell y'all later. Literally, I'm in your room.